it's interesting. We've gone through quite a dynamic time recently, and I guess the technology that's having the most impact is that which is enabling us to make more megabits per megahertz. And of course, to move from DVB-S to DVB-S2, now we see movements from H.265, HEVC. We're able to do higher definition in so much less megahertz, and this means that it improves the business case to get that HD market out into the marketplace. So for somebody who's got some content, one of the big costs of getting it to market, of course, is the amount of bandwidth that they have to use. So I think encoding is certainly, and modulation techniques are probably the most important things that we've seen of late that are really having an impact on the market. In Europe, of course, we're seeing maybe a slower uptake of HD channels, although it's growing now. But here in Asia, of course, you have entire countries like Japan, Taiwan, Korea, who are all HD focused. And the more channels we can get into the marketplace, the better that's going to be for the commercial case for the channel operator or content aggregator. And really what we need to look at is what is the best technology to get to the biggest market in order that the revenues can flow through. And if our content aggregators and content providers are successful and their audience is the right way, then from a service provision point of view, we'll be successful too. If you're able to do higher data rate services, which we're all moving towards with the HD and the ultra high definition and the high dynamic range capacities, those channels that need to get to their audience need to be done within a business case. I express this to my team a lot, that what we do with the technology is actually not that important. Controversial for being at a show like this, I guess, but it's not that important. What is really important is the content provider needs to get that content to a specific market sector, whether it's based on language or thematic, whether it's documentaries or it's news or religious based or language based or whatever that's going to be. The important thing is to provide the right conduit to market, and the only way that that can be made to make a proper business case is that if it gets enough eyeballs to look at it from the DTH perspective. And with the latest technology, with the latest encoding and the latest modulation, we're able to bring that content to market at a proper market rate, which means the entire business case works. What a great question. We're always striving to find new markets and new routes to market. Most recently for STN, we've been able to open up some of the Asian markets to the more Western delivery systems. So only today we signed a contract with Thaicom to bring 2 channels from Asia and to deliver it into the Hotbird and to the G19 network. So for STN, we're really exploring Asia, which is why we're here at this show, to see where the channels are that need to go to the West, and we already know some of the channels in the West that need to come here, and we're looking at the best ways to do that, whether we're speaking to the satellite operators who are active in the area, MEASat, AsiaSat, Intelsat, Eutelsat and all the others, but also to the teleport operators, people like Singtel and PCCW, people who can bring our content in region. We have a very wide orbital arc from Slovenia. We're very lucky, and we can see some of the satellites over here, but we may need to extend that to work with partners to deliver that service. So in terms of finding new markets, we're able to find new partners and new delivery systems in order to bring those channels through east or west. Well, it's interesting. We're all looking at 4K TV, and already the TVs have caught up with 4K TV, the TV manufacturers, people's expectations around 4K, and yet we know just around the corner there's 8K TV. Why do we keep looking to use bigger and bigger bandwidths? It's simple. The satellite operators have a finite amount of space segment, and as we dealt with earlier, modulation techniques and encoding techniques mean that we're using smaller and smaller amounts of bandwidth. So it makes sense to encourage a market that uses bigger space segment, because it's better for the satellite operators to make their sale and sustain their market. Now, everybody complains about space segment prices, and that's why the technology helps people to put channels into ever smaller things. But I think we, as a community, need to also look after the satellite operators and encourage the wider bandwidth services. People enjoy the services that are involved in that. There's a long way to go before I think we get to 8K. But nonetheless, I think it is important to push the boundaries of what is capable and to encourage people to take those on board.